Next up, we have Mestiço chocolatey. I'm trying to pronounce it properly with the Portuguese, but I do not speak Portuguese. I speak Spanish, so it's hard. Um, this is a 75% Trinitario. So, back when I started in the chocolate world, we used to talk about chocolate as one of three varieties: criollo, Trinitario, forastero. This has long been being changed. There's so many sub varieties. I'm not going to go into that because it's so incredibly complicated. But what I will say is that um, this is a bar that is grown in Bahia, similar to Baiani, on a different farm, multi generational farmers as well. And Rogério, who was an engineer, working as an engineer, has left that and is working now with his wife Claudia and making delicious chocolate in Bahia. This particular bar, if you look at the ingredients, it is cacao, sugar. We haven't really talked about numbers of ingredients yet, but cacao, sugar, and cocoa butter. Something that's unusual about this bar is that the cocoa butter is pressed in-house, and that's actually written on the ingredients. So what is cocoa butter? First, let's do a quick dive into that. Cocoa butter is the fat from the cocoa bean. So if you press all the fat out of cocoa beans, you'll be left with cake, pressed cake, which is like cocoa powder, which many of you know, um, and cocoa butter. So when we add cocoa butter to a bar, most makers will buy that on the market. The vast majority of makers, because pressing it is tricky. If you're growing your own cacao, it means you have to have enough cacao to use some of the cacao to make cocoa butter. So this is one of the unusual things about mestizo. By the way, the name mestizo means mixed, or as in Hawaii, we would say hapa. So mixed. I'm hapa. I'm half Indian, half Swiss. So Rogerio is hapa as well. Cacao, I would argue, is hapa, right? So this is why I'm not getting into Trinitario, Criollo, Forastero. Cacao is such a mix, and just so here's a pod here in my background on this side right there. A pod that grows, every seed is a result of an individual pollination. So potentially each seed has its own father. So you can't get more mixed than that in terms of even a pod on a tree. And every pod on the tree can again be very different because of the different father. This is a lovely bar. It's so hard to do this in 2 minutes. Lots of really fudgy, nutty notes. 75%, and that means 75% cacao beans and cacao butter, and the rest is sugar, so 25% sugar. And let's check out the next one.